what we're going to do tonight is we're going to get this cleaned up, it's blown off, and we're going to get the table, bring it over, set it on top so we can line the gear with the rack. And we've got this set screw loose right now so we can move this back and forth. When we get in there, we're going to line it, pull the table back off, lock the screw down, carry on with cleaning this thing up. Probably all it needs, just a little, you know. Just a light little bit of, oh, we're going to call this assembly lube, right? That's all we get. I think maybe just a little bit further back. Yeah. So we have the gear is worn right now on the rightmost side where we had all that excess wear over here. We also had that same amount of wear on the rack because when the gear was pushed, they didn't have the bushing on the gear mechanism, or the mechanism was never put together correctly before we got it. So when the gear's in the forward position, which is fast travel, it was on the right hand side of the rack over here. What we've done is we've aligned it so that the entire gear covers the rack in both the forward and the backward position. Now we can flip it over. Cool. So in the front position, we run the rack between the edge of the gear and about the right, or see my left side, outbound side of my finger, and this is full speed, one to one, and then in the other position, which is here, rides the rack on the outermost edge, the width of the rack back onto the gear, and there's a slight reduction in the two. That's in the right place. That's good. So we're going to get this the rollers cleaned back up, get them back in, get the machine lubed up, and put the table on, and carry on with putting this thing back together for testing. We have this one roller out of the set that it turns on the shaft, and that's not a good thing. Here's a good one. The rollers don't turn on the discs don't turn on the shaft, and what that allows is as the machine slides across this, it's able to rotate and pick up the oil. When this one is not able to rotate, it runs the risk of sitting flat and just having the way surface slide across it without picking up any oil. So we're going to set it down, smack it with a hammer to see if we can't get these edges to flare out a little bit more and grab these. And then we're going to try to straighten the wheels back out because they appear to also be bent. That's helping some, so let's beat on this one some more.
Uh-oh. We've encountered another problem where we have bent the little shaft. Instead of bending and mushroom out the ends, the shaft is now bent, so time to fix the shaft.
So we ran into a problem with the little oiler rollers. We first we took the roller pin, we had it set up, we just lightly hit it with a hammer, thinking that it would roll over. It didn't roll over, so we hit it a little harder, and instead of the thing rolling over, it just bent in half. So we straightened the pin back out. We could not get it to roll down to tighten up along the little sleeves. So we tried some other things, and well, it didn't quite work out. We melted lots of aluminum, and then we finally thought about putting a mild steel piece on the top, heating it up, and then it just didn't work out. Just fixed it with a screw and some nuts, and we just used other aluminum pieces to replace the ones that were there, and it seems to be working fine. We'll probably revisit that later, along with some other things. So if you remember, we adjusted the position for the gear underneath where the rack is, and then I went ahead and I cleaned the hand wheel up. I adjusted the bushing so that we get good pull out with position, and then push in, and it can't go beyond the rack anymore. And the next thing I did was I finished cleaning up the underside rails. This rail here, bolted it on, same exact rail on the other side. It's just to keep the machine from lifting up. Then we finished washing this off, put it back on. Had a little bit of problems driving the pin back up through them both because of there's a spacer cap of some sort in here that wanted to grab and drag. We eventually got that in without too many problems. Lightly stoned the front of this, cleaned up the degree and angle measure on this side, and the screw assembly for the fine adjustment on the right hand side. We put the Y hand wheel back in. It's working really nice. It still has a lot of backlash, but that's expected. We showed some of the wear on the screw right here. The block that keeps the screw in place and keeps it from rotating was put back in, bolts in from the bottom. It's fixed in position, and really impressed with how that is. So what we're going to do is we're going to carry on getting the covers cleaned, get the covers back on, and start putting the grinding head back in place. So far it's been nice. I'm going to bring you in close really quick to the back side of this. It was completely wobbly. Okay, so what had previously been done inside of here is they had brazed this back end. So I drilled it out, ground most of the brazing out, left a chamfer on the end of the shaft, spaced it to give it about 20 thousandths worth of a gap in the handle plate here, and then just tigged it back in place. So there was brass running from inside of here that I didn't grind out, so it turned out really nice. It's strong and it's not going to go anywhere. So the table angle adjustment, these were completely frozen up. They can be removed now, and you would put them in a new position, say here, and you could have the table and do a fine adjustment for a different angle. But for now we're locked in right here. And here's the vernier scale for defining either an angle in arc seconds or minutes and degrees, or taper in inches per foot, and then degrees is how this is graduated. We just cleaned this off in the ultrasonic cleaner, and we'll line it later. It's pretty close right now according to this, but we haven't put an indicator on it. We'll be doing that later. We've got this left to get cleaned up, and a couple other way guards that go on the back of the machine to do. We'll let you see how that looks when we're done.